Namaste yogis, this is Steven from YogaWorks and welcome to part 2 of our Start to Yoga beginner series. I'm saying Namaste in the beginning, and actually it's just a greeting in India where the yoga is originally from, and it could just mean hello, but there's another translation which also means the light or the divine in me greets the light or the divine in you. I'll leave it up to you which explanation or meaning you assign to it, but just so you know what we're saying usually in the beginning and at the end of the yoga class. So in this second part, in the first part, let's start there, we have started to move around our mat. We have explored some really basic poses like mountain pose, downward facing dog, plank, and some transitions in between them to move forward, to move back, and to get just a general feel of how a flow yoga practice, a vinyasa practice works. Now today we'll repeat a lot of that work and we'll start to add a little bit more standing poses, which is an excellent way to strengthen the legs, the area around the hips, even the core work, and to build up a whole lot of stamina. Now, I would like you to pay attention to one thing in particular. There's a lot of new things to learn and understand, especially if you're new to yoga practice. But if there's only one thing that you remember, is to pay attention to your foundation, which is the part of your body that is touching the mat. So for me, in this case, it's my shins and the tops of the feet. But when we're standing, it's usually going to be the feet, 1 foot or 2 feet. Today we'll do 2 feet. Next week we'll look into balancing on one single leg, so we'll look at that later. But we want a stable foundation from which we will build up the building of our pose. We want the base to be strong and solid, and we want whatever is rising up from that base to be light and open and free as much as possible. So there's a contradiction a little bit happening. There's 2 parts of the pose, which is the strength, the stability, the feeling strong, and the other one is the rising up, the openness, the relaxation. So both strong and relaxed, both stable and mobile. That's the one we're going for in our yoga practice. Nice. So now that we know what we'll be doing, come into a cross-legged position and then just cross your left shin in front of the right. There's a lot of ways to do this. Often we would sit like this with the knees a little bit wider, but for today, shorten it a bit and have the knees a bit closer together so that your feet and your knees are more or less in the same alignment here. And then really simple, lengthen the spine and walk the hands a little bit forward. You may not have to go very far before you feel a good outer hip stretch. And it could be nice sometimes to stay in a pose, but as it's early on in our practice, I would like to introduce a little bit of gentle movement. So just sway gently from side to side and just see how that affects the pose. Where do you feel most when you go left, the center, or the right? And how do the sensations change in your body in this really simple movement? And then slowly come up and then swap the legs. It's going to be right shin in front of the left, or whichever one you haven't done yet. Again, set it up so it's quite short and compact, and the knees and the feet are more or less aligned, so the feet are under the knees somewhere. Nice, lengthen the spine. If you feel enough here, stay here, or walk a little bit forward until you feel something at the back of the hips. Not excruciating intensity, and also not nothing, so we want to be somewhere in between. Again, feel the strong base through the hips, through the feet, and then introduce a little bit of movement where you go left and right. Really simple, really soothing. Just tuning into the body for a moment. Now we'll swap the legs again. We'll do it in a particular way, actually, through another yoga pose. It's called the boat. To get into boat for the first time, just place your feet in front of you, hold the backs of your knees or thighs and just lean back a little bit until the feet can just lift up off the floor here. Nice. You can stay here, or you can lift the feet a little bit higher to about the shins parallel to the mat level, or you can make it harder by reaching your hands forward. If that's hard, if you lose the shape by doing that, then rather hold on to keep the chest lifted. This is boat pose. And then cross the left shin in front of the right. Lean forward. Now we'll do some dynamic movement. Move through both, with or without holding with the hands. And then right shin in front of left. Lean a little bit forward. Wherever you get to, it's perfect. Lift up both. Left shin in front of right. Fold forward. Lift up one more time. Right shin in front of left. Fold. And then slowly lift back up. Nice. Straighten the legs out in front of you. And press your hands next to your hips. Press them down on the mat. The feet, activate them so they don't flop around. They're very much a part of this pose. Imagine you're almost standing on the feet and you're pushing that imaginary floor away. So this is the base of the pose here. Our foundation is the whole backs of the legs, the whole lower body. Feel the two sit bones pressing down equally. And then the part that rises up from that is the spine. The upper body is lifting up. If it feels like you're leaning back a little bit due to restrictions, the backs of the legs, no problem. You can do that, but as much as possible, try to lengthen the spine and sit as tall as possible. This is Dandasana, the staff pose. So engage the quads, so you lift the kneecaps, press the backs of the legs down. Now there's one more thing we can add to get into the next pose. We can add a little bit of walking our hands forward. Don't go too far and too quickly. There's no need to hold your feet. If they're right there, you can hold them, but this is not what this pose is about. This pose is about a length in the whole back side of the body. From the heels to the neck, you could say, and to create a bit of a contraction in the front of the body. So feel the belly moving back, feel the front of the legs and the hips activating to pull you a little bit deeper, and then just let this be whatever it is. You might be way higher, or you might be lying all the way down, or something in between, which is probably the experience of many people. So experience this for a moment. This is called the seated forward fold, or Paschimottanasana. It means intense stretch of the whole back body. And then lift back up. Nice. Take your right knee and bend it, and then place your right foot over the left knee. Just feel we still want both sit bones equally pressing down. We still want the left leg unchanged, the left foot a little bit active. Nothing has changed, but now we've got another point of support, which is the right foot pressing outside left knee. Nice. Now place the right hand just behind the base of your spine somewhere. You can be on fingertips or flat hand, and then with your left elbow wrap around the right knee and pull that knee in close to your chest. Now lift the heart up and turn the chest a little bit more to the right. So this is called a seated twist. There's different variations, but we'll start with this one. This is a really great one to start to rotate the spine around its axis. And at the same time, to experience that foundation, that grounding, and the rising up of the upper body out of the lower body. Nice. Slowly release. Straighten the right leg, bend the left knee. Place the left foot just over the right knee. Activate right foot, right leg, just as we've done before. Ground down through this left foot. Left hand goes just behind the base of the spine. The right elbow wrap it around the left knee, pull in, and then lift the chest up as much as you can, lengthen the spine. And then add a little bit of rotation to the left. You don't need to go as far as you can. Just go until you feel something that is interesting for you that you can work with. There's strength in the pose. Your whole lower body is resting down. There's also freedom or relaxation in the pose. You're breathing deeply into the whole upper body. You're trying to keep the face and the shoulders soft. Whatever else you can manage is great. And then slowly release. You can straighten the legs here. And then just move the legs up and down. Good. Now place the feet closer to you and a little bit wider so that the toes are slightly turned out, the heels are slightly turned in, almost as wide as the mat I would recommend. And then use your hands to push yourself forward and see if you can come into a squat. You may still need your hands, nothing wrong with this. Or you might be able to bring your hands out in front of you and come into the squat like this. This is a pose that really looks very different for different body types. So everyone's squat is going to have a whole other appearance. So just do the one that feels accessible to you. Sometimes if the backs of the heels, the Achilles and the calves are tight, you might find yourself forced to lift the heels a little bit. Again, nothing wrong with this. Just do the squat like that. And as you repeat it, you might find it evolves over time. That's fine. And then a couple of times, place your fingertips in front of you and then just straighten the legs a little bit and bend the knees to come back to squat. You don't have to straighten all the way, but just push the feet down, lengthen the backs of the legs, and come back down. So 3 more, push the feet down, feel the grounding through the feet and the lift through the rest of the body, and come back down. 2 more, push the feet down, lift the hips, and then pull your hips down, maybe without hands for this last one, if you can. Try to keep the hands hovering, push the feet, come back to squat. And then just walk to the front of your mat. Bend the knees generously. And then keep the knees bent as you slowly start to roll up. Just feel each part of the spine slowly straighten and stack on top of each other. There's no rush. Until you come all the way upright. Roll the shoulders a couple of times. Other direction. Just making huge circles with the shoulders. And then place the hands together at the heart, feet hip distance apart. So here's that mountain pose, the Tadasana that we had a look at in the first session. First of all, close your eyes and just feel the contact between the feet and the earth underneath. Feel the weight in the left foot and in the right. And even the front of the feet and the back of the feet, so the toes, the heels. See if you can get an equal distribution. And then from that place, remember we are straightening the legs as much as we can, which lifts the kneecaps, activates the quads. And then squeeze your buttocks and the belly about 20%, just a light activation. From there, lift the chest, shoulders slightly back, and then the fingertips reach down, lift up through the crown of the head. Mountain pose prepares you for any other standing pose that comes after that. In fact, often the legs or the torso will be like in mountain pose with some variations here and there. Inhale to lift the arms up, to press the feet down. Feel the more you press the feet down, the more space you can create to rise up from there. Nice, and then exhale, bend the knees a little bit, open the arms wide and dive down to a forward fold, Uttanasana. It's a good idea, keep the knees a little bit bent to unload the backs of the legs. We don't want to force anything here. And then flat back, remember, press the hands onto the shins and stretch your chest forward towards the front. Exhale, another forward fold, move from your belly and pull yourself forward and down from there. Inhale, we rise, go all the way up, sweep your arms up, press the feet down, and exhale, hands to the heart center. So that's a half sun salutation, just to get into moving with the breath and establish a nice rhythm and flow. Inhale, rise, lift the chest, lift the arms, lift the fingers. Exhale to fold forward, relax the head at the end. Inhale, lift the head forward, push the shins back with the hands. Exhale to forward fold again, bend your knees and relax down. Inhale, we rise, go all the way up, get as tall as possible. Exhale, hands to the heart. Forgot to mention, but we can again use this Ujjayi breath, this slow paced breath that we discussed in the first session. Slight constriction back of the throat. It's hard to do for me while I'm instructing, but just try it out in your practice. Inhale, rise. We'll do another half sun salutation. Exhale, fold forward, soft knees. Inhale, flat back, stretch the heart forward. Exhale, forward fold, belly to thighs, relax the head. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, sigh, hands back to the heart. We'll continue, we'll add on some of the lunges that we discovered last week. Inhale, rise. Exhale all the way down, take your time. Inhale, stretch the heart forward, this is flat back. Exhale, this time, fingertips down, right foot a little step back. Try to land as softly as possible. Right knee down to the mat. And then press your hands on the front knee for a low lunge. Move the belly slightly back, which will increase the stretch in the front of the right hip. Nice. Just to down dog, place your hands, step back, and hold down dog just for a breath or two. Remember, you can always bend the knees, especially if it helps you to lengthen the spine. I would always prioritize that. Nice. Inhale here. Exhale, step your right foot forward. Remember what we did? We lowered the left knee down, which creates space for the right foot to step through. Or if you don't need that, then you could just step to the front. Takes a little bit of practice, so take your time. Lower the left knee, both hands on the right knee. Low lunge. Hands down, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back, hands to shins. Exhale, sigh and fold, let go. Inhale, push the feet down and rise. Exhale, hands back to heart center. Second side, inhale, keep going, same rhythm of breath. Exhale, make it graceful, make it feel amazing in your body. Inhale, flat back, strengthen the back body as you do this. Exhale, fingertips down, the left foot back, soft landing, lower the left knee, and then both hands on the front knee, move the belly a little bit back, see how it feels. Hands down, step back, just to downward facing dog. Stay for a breath or two and observe. You can even close your eyes just to become more aware of what is happening in your body here. Inhale here. Exhale, step the left foot through. You can help with your hands, you can lower the right knee down. All these things remain valid. Right knee to the mat, hands to front knee. Move the belly a little bit back. Good. Fingertips down, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Make space. Exhale, fold into that space. You can always bend the knees, it's a good idea. Inhale, go all the way up. Find expansion. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, continue the same rhythm of breath. We'll add the plank and the lowering down like last week. Exhale, dive down and relax, sigh. Inhale, flat back, Exhale, fingertips down, the right foot back. Lower the knee. You can stay here, or if you want, you can now lift the arms up for the full low lunge pose. The other one's also good with the fingertips down or on the front knee, you choose. Now this time, inhale, let's step back to downward facing dog. Exhale here. Inhale, shift forward into plank pose, so your shoulders come over the wrists and your belly and legs are strong. Lower the knees down. Like we've done last time, shift a little bit forward and bend your elbows a little bit. Slowly lower down and set the belly all the way down. Locust pose. Start to reach your hands back. Lift the legs, lift the head and chest. Lift the backs of the arms up. And then hands to the mat. You can come onto all fours first and then downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Try to make this a little bit smoother every time you do this. Left knee down. Inhale the arms. Rise. Lower the hands. Step forward. Fold. Inhale, flat back. Feel the grounding through the feet. Exhale, forward fold. Feel how the weight shifts as you move. Inhale, the more you push the feet down, the more the rest of the body can lift. Exhale, hands to heart. We've got half a sequence left and then we'll change it up a bit. Inhale, well done. Take a slow deep breath all the way down into your belly. And exhale, sigh the breath out with a closed mouth if you can. Inhale, flat back, lift high enough so you can feel your back muscles lift you up. Exhale, fingertips down, the left foot steps back, really soft. Lower the left knee. You know the choices, hands down, hands on the knee. I'm gonna go hands lifting up to the sky, low lunge. Hands come down, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward into plank. Just feel your grounding is now the 2 feet and the 2 hands. In this particular pose, the rest of the body is lifting up from there. And again, get the feeling that you're pushing the floor down, not that you're sagging down to the floor. It's a different experience. Lower the knees. Strong belly as you lean forward. Bend your elbows a little bit. And slowly lower down. It's good to do that really slowly. You're going to build up a lot of strength in a relatively short period of time. Nice. Now lift the legs, lift the arms, lift the head and chest. Locust pose, Shalabhasana. Hands down, all fours, back into downward facing dog. Good. Take a deep breath. Exhale, step the left foot forward, make a plan. You're getting better every time you do this. Right knee down. Hands rise, inhale, low lunge. Lower the hands, step forward lightly, forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale, flat back, make space. Exhale, fold down, let go. Inhale, go all the way up, reach to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart, center. Take a slow breath in. Take a slow breath out. Nice. Now bend your knees so much that your fingertips can just touch down. Actually, I prefer this pose if your big toes are touching, the heels are slightly apart, just try that. The inner knees can also squeeze in together that way. Nice, keep this. Keep the hips this low. In fact, sit them a little bit more back and lift the arms up. This is chair pose. Incredibly challenging. In fact, the translation from the name Utkatasana is the fierce pose. So make it fierce. Sit back, sit down, and lift the chest up. Relax your face. Oh no, that is the hardest thing that I've done so far. And exhale, forward fold, straighten the legs. Just forget about it. It's over. Well done. Place your hands, just step back to downward facing dog from here. Take a breath or two. At any point, remember, the child's pose is available even if me or any other teacher forgets to mention. You can always sit the hips back onto the heels, relax the forehead down. At any time you need a break, this is available. So your yoga practice should never be stressful or impossible. Whenever it gets to that level, you have child's pose to bail you out, let's say. Otherwise, stay in down dog, which is amazing to strengthen your shoulders and your core. Nice. Inhale here. Exhale to bring the knee to the chest, the right knee to the chest, and then step the right foot all the way forward. Lower the left knee down. Let's start in the same low lunge and then we'll build from there. Nice. Let's have a look at what's touching down. We've got the right foot, we've got the left knee, and I have my toes tucked under, but you can also have the top of the foot down. Both are really good options. I prefer the toes because it gives me an extra little push forward, a little bit more control, it feels like. Then press the hands on your front knee, and I'll do one more thing. Pull the front foot and the back knee together underneath you. Visually, nothing much is changing, but I can definitely feel quite a good stretch the front of the left hip and a lift through the core, which seems to free up my upper body, and then the arms to do, well, whatever they want. You can lift them up if you want. Good. Place the hands on the front knee again. Now, everyone tuck the back toes under and start to push through that foot so much that your back knee starts to lift up. We call this a high lunge, so with the back knee lifted, try to engage that back leg, juice it up, kick the heel back, and lift the thigh, lift the hips a little bit away from the mat. And then if you still have space, bend the front knee a little bit more. This is going to depend on your range of motion here. And then do the same as what you did before. Pull the front foot and the back foot, pull them together underneath you, and then see if the arms can lift. This is high lunge. So in the sun salutations, we can use this pose instead of the low lunge to add a little bit of intensity to our practice. Nice. Lower the hands down. Lower the back knee down. Quite a bit of leg work. You will notice these standing poses are not a walk in the park. Okay, lift up. Place your hands together at the heart. Now from here, twist a little bit to the right. Don't touch anything else yet. So you're just twisting from your core. Just feel from the waist, you're rotating, and at some point you will stop. Keep that strength. Now lean a little bit forward. Place left elbow on the right knee. So on the outside, just over the knee. Now lift the elbow, the top elbow up, and push your hands a little bit together. If this is not nice for your wrists, you can always make a fist with the bottom hand and then push down with the top hand. That's also a good option. In both cases, roll the top shoulder open. Push the left elbow and the right knee together. And then pretend you can breathe normally in this pose. It's a bit harder, but it is worth the effort. This is a revolved lunge or twisted lunge. Nice. Lower the hands down. Now lift the back knee up again and step that foot in about a third of the way. Lower the heel down. Now, if your feet are in one line, you're going to be terribly unstable here, like walking on a tightrope. So I'd recommend take that back leg and move it out to the left a little bit more, so you've got space between the 2 feet. Now I've got 2 blocks here exactly for this pose. Sometimes you find the back of the front leg does objects a little bit to this, so you can always have the blocks on either side of that front foot to then help you lift the floor up a bit, and this will help you straighten that front leg. If there's no blocks or anything else that you can use, then I would say just bend the front knee so you can use your fingertips down to the mat. Whether this leg is straight or bent is not the main thing of the pose. We're mainly creating length in the back of the leg. You can do that with a straight leg or a bent leg. And now, two important things, the grounding, which is the feet again, the whole central theme of our class today, strong foundations. And the second thing is to pull the right hip a little bit back. Whether or not that knee is bent, it doesn't matter. Pull it back and lengthen your chest a little bit forward. This is called Parshvottanasana, the pyramid pose sometimes called. Amazing for creating length in the back of the legs, the hamstrings. Nice. Downward facing dog, step back. Just feel the left side of the body, the right side. There might be quite a difference in the legs or the hips, because we've done one side and we're going to get to the second side just now. And then step your left foot forward, lower the right knee down. Come up with the torso, place both hands on the front knee. And then again, feel the contact with the surface underneath. The front foot, press it down. The back knee and maybe the back foot, press them down. And then pull the two towards each other energetically. It's going to increase the stretch at the front of the hip, and it's going to create a lift through the core from the pelvic floor all the way up to the spine. And if it feels good, you can lift your arms. This is the low lunge. Nice. From here, lower the hands to your front knee again. Tuck your back toes if you hadn't already, and then push through the foot to lift that knee to straight or kind of straight. You'll see how it goes. Nice. And then can you juice up that back leg, really press away through that back heel. Lift the thigh away from the mat, but at the same time, can you lunge through the front leg? If this knee comes far forward from your front ankle, you'll have to lengthen the stance a little bit. Just go a little bit wider in that case. And then maybe lift the arms. We're in a high lunge. Experience it for a moment. Pull the feet together. Nice. Exhale. Lower the hands. Lower your back knee. Preparing for the twist. Let's come up, hands to the heart. Twist just from your center, from your core to the left until you can't go further. And then you can hook the right elbow just over that left knee and use that to get a little bit more rotation to the left side. Roll the left shoulder open. Pull the left hip back. And then feel how your foundation is strong, hopefully. And from there, the upper body gets space. Space to move, space to open, space to rotate, as in this case. Nice. Lower the hands down. Lift the back knee off the mat and step it in about a third of the way. Again, not on a tight rope, but a little bit wider. So left foot a bit to the left, right foot a bit to the right. I find that works the best for my body. You can always use your blocks again to lift the hands higher, or anything else to support you. You can stay on fingertips, bend that front knee if you need that space. But again, pay attention to your feet, pressing down, pulling energetically towards each other, and then pull that left hip back and lengthen the spine forward. Doesn't matter how low or how high you are. There's no need to try and touch your forehead to that front shin. I can do it, but it actually feels terrible, and I feel a much better and more stable stretch when I reach my chest forward. You can do both of these with that front knee bent. Pyramid pose, Parshvottanasana. Good. Let's step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath. In between, you might sometimes hear in a vinyasa flow class, the teacher might say, you can take a vinyasa, or you can rest in down dog, or even in child's pose.
If they say take a vinyasa, they actually mean we can do it together. They mean this. You're going forward to plank. You're slowly lowering down to the floor somehow. You can use your knees as we've done before, or keep the knees up. And then you use some kind of back bend. We've been doing locust before, but you can also do cobra, like we have seen last week. We'll repeat this one just now. And then lower down, back to downward facing dog. So that's a way to add a bit of intensity to the class, to keep moving, and to keep strengthening all parts of the body. But it's totally optional. You don't have to keep moving. You can decide to take little breaks in between at any time. Nice. Step the left foot forward. This time, turn the toes towards the long edge of the mat, so that your feet are parallel to the short edges. You might have to turn the toes in slightly. Nice. Again, feel the foundation, which is mainly our 2 feet. The fingertips might support a little bit. This is called a wide-legged forward fold. We'll explore that a little bit more just now. Then from here, just come up, hands to hips. Turn the left toes out. And make sure the heels are more or less in the same line. So left toes straight to the short edge of the mat. Right toes, you can turn them in ever so slightly. And then just bend that front knee, the left knee in this case. Nice. Hands on the hips still, and just feel, is one side of the hips lower than the other? And can you open the hips towards the long edge of the mat? It's never going to be perfect, but it's kind of the idea that the hips rotate open to the space towards the center. Nice. Have a look at the front knee. Often what happens is this knee collapses in a little bit. So you can use your hand to gently help that knee above the ankle, and then use the power of your outer hip on the left to keep it there. This is way too intense, and just shorten the pose. This is still Warrior 2. I forgot to mention, this is Warrior 2 pose. If you want to intensify it, then step wider. Of course, the longer, the more stretch you're going to find. I'm going to go with a bit of a medium version. And then open the arms forward and back. You can have a look back, have a look forward, so that your arms are doing what you were hoping them to do. And welcome to Warrior 2. Left elbow, place it on your left thigh. Right hand to the right hip. So we haven't moved the legs, they're still in Warrior 2 legs, like our previous pose. But now we're leaning more weight onto that front thigh. Nice. Now use the right shoulder to roll a bit open. Lift the right arm straight up. You could even look at the hand just to check. And then watch the right hand reach over your head towards the top front corner of the room. Keep pulling the left hip back. This is side angle pose. Parshva Konasana. Now slowly come back up. This time straighten your front leg. Remember, if it's too intense, shorten your stance. Gonna make things a little bit more accessible. Now reach the hands up, like for Warrior 2. Reach forward, don't bend the front knee this time. Reach forward until you can't go further. Relax the left hand to left shin, or wherever it lands, and lift the right arm up. This is triangle pose. Keep your core a bit active in all of this. It's going to help if you pull the feet towards each other like we've been doing for all the other standing poses. Take a moment to expand in all these directions in triangle pose, Trikonasana. And then lift back up, turn the feet parallel, and just forward fold for a moment. Catch your breath. You'll notice these standing poses generate quite a bit of heat. They can be quite challenging. And after doing them, you'll feel a wonderful sense of groundedness and calm. Let's hope you experience that too. And then lift back up. Let's do the second side. Now turn the right toes out, so the toes point towards the other short edge of the mat. I like the heels to be more or less aligned. Try it out. If it's too intense, shorten the stance. This will have less bend in the front knee. If it's not intense enough, then widen the stance and have a deeper bend. Nice, so see how you go. Hands on the hips. Check again, the front hip tends to drop a little bit in this pose. So see if you can level the hips as best as you can. And then watch, the front knee likes to collapse inside. Try to keep it above that right ankle. And when you're happy with your foundation, we're always building the pose up from the floor to the top. When you're happy, you can reach the arms out for the full warrior two pose. Just check what the back hand is doing, and then the front hand, and stretch your fingertips away from each other. This pose is featuring in a lot of yoga classes, definitely in most of my classes. I love to spend a few moments in warrior two. Lower the right elbow to your right thigh. Reach the left arm up. And then reach the left arm over, so you're creating this long line at the top side of the body from your back heel or edge of the foot to your left fingertips. Keep the legs the same, they haven't changed from warrior two. And then slowly lift back up, well done. Straighten the front leg as you come up and reach the arms out. Keep both legs straight, reach the right hand forward until your body stops, and just rest the right hand there. For me, it's usually around my shin. Sometimes after I warm up, you might get to the floor, but don't be worried about little details like this. And then lift the left arm up. You can also use your blocks here, inside the foot, outside the foot. Both are really good options to have a little bit more support and grounding. So feel your base, the 2 feet. Feel the rest of the body expanding out in all directions from there. Good, and then lift back up. Turn the feet parallel again. And from here, fold forward again. One last time. This is our last standing pose. So ground the feet down, distribute the feet, the weight evenly between the front and the back of the foot, between the left and the right sides. And then here, if you feel a little bit more open, you're having a flexible day, then you can always walk your hands a little bit more back between the feet. And then use the hands to invite your upper body a little bit lower. Wherever it goes, it's okay. You might be halfway up, which is still okay. Don't worry about it. So you're just moving your head towards or to the floor and folding into that space. Still a strong foundation through the legs. They're doing most of the work. And quite relaxed in the upper body. See if you can notice that opposite, the differences. Nice. Slowly come back up. Walk your hands towards your left foot. Swivel the feet and step into plank. Inhale in plank pose. Exhale, shift a little bit forward. Slowly lower all the way down. So we've been practicing locust pose. There's a couple of other poses that work really well in this kind of flow or in a little back bend sequence, which we'll look at more next week. The first one is cobra pose. We've done this one last week, but let's have another look. The hands from the shoulders, slide them further back so they are next to the middle of your chest. Press the tops of the feet down. So now we've got a different foundation. We've got the front of the legs, front of the hips, and your hands. And then slowly lift the head up, lift the chest up, and hover your hands just above the mat. Pull the shoulders and the elbows up towards the sky behind you. This is the little baby cobra. Now keep that, place the hands down, and keep your elbows tight as you push the hands down and pull the hands a little bit towards you. Nice. Try not to shrug the shoulders up too high towards the ears. That's terribly uncomfortable. Draw the shoulders down and a little bit back. Let the heart expand forward. And then slowly lower down. Make a pillow with your hands. And for the first time, after moving continuously for about 40 minutes, we are taking a break. Just rest into the space. Feel the whole front body relax on the surface underneath you. Good, we're going to have a look at another back bend pose, like locust, like cobra, and it's called upward facing dog. It's a really nice flowing pose that's often used in the vinyasa flow practices. So do this with me. Slide your hands back just the same as for cobra pose. Staying on the tops of the feet. Actually start with cobra, lift the head, lift the chest, lift the belly, and then keep going until your arms are straight this time. This will most likely lift your hips off the mat, and then push the tops of your feet down to activate the legs, to straighten the legs. So now we're just on the tops of the feet and on the hands, and instead of shoulders forward, move the shoulders back and lift out of the shoulders so your neck has space. Your head has space. There's no need to throw your head back. That's terribly uncomfortable again. So just look forward somewhere in front of you. Broaden the chest, pull the shoulders back and ground down through the hands, the tops of the feet. And slowly lower back down. Good. That's upward facing dog. Now place your elbows under the shoulders. Just have a look. We want the upper arm to be straight down to the mat. There's a few options for the hands. You can press the hands down, or you can have the hands together, even interlaced if you like. Doesn't matter. Press down through the elbows. Often the elbows are a little bit too wide. Bring them in a little bit more, so they shouldn't be wider than your shoulders. Nice. So here's our support. This is quite a mild back bend. A really good pose after working on a computer for long hours or sitting for a long time. This is a great counter pose, you could say. Let the chest broaden a little bit, let the shoulders move back slightly. But keep it quite as a relaxing pose. Now slowly release, and let's roll over onto our backs. We'll end with a few gentle reclined poses. Always great to end a rather active class like we have just done, with all the leg work, the hip strengthening, the grounding, the activating. So just rest here for a moment, your knees bent, your back connecting with the floor. And reconnect to the breath in case you have lost that connection. And then place your right ankle on the left knee. And then do something active with that right foot, so you're pushing the ankle down on that knee a little bit. Nice. Now lift the head and the shoulders. Lift that left foot a little bit off the mat, and then thread your right arm through the gap in the legs, and maybe hold the left thigh or the left shin with both hands. Once you've got this, you can lie back down and just rest your back on the mat again. And then what we're doing is, there's a couple of things. The main thing is to push that right ankle onto that left knee. And this will move the right knee a little bit forward, but mainly this will increase the hip stretch in the outer right hip. And then with your hands, you can gently pull the left knee a little bit towards you if you need more intensity. If you don't, then of course don't worry about it. If it's all a little bit much for you, you can even just stay and release the legs down and keep the right ankle on the left knee. Same pose, lower intensity. So just see how it goes. Can you lengthen the tailbone
down towards the mat a little bit, so your hips don't lift up too much. And this pose is often called figure of 4 stretch, or sometimes supine pigeon. We'll explore other versions of pigeon later on in this series. And then release. Right foot down, place left ankle on the right knee. Activate the left foot, push that ankle down. You could stay here. If this is a good stretch for you, then you have arrived. If you need a little bit more, then you can reach the left arm through, hold your right thigh or your right shin, and rest the head back. 2 things: push the left ankle on that right knee. This will press the left knee forward as well in the process. And gently with your hands pull the right knee towards your right shoulder in that direction. We're heading towards the end of the class, the last couple of minutes in poses. So this is not the time to push really hard. This is the time to become more and more introspective, to receive the benefits of the practice, and to stay with a greater awareness of how your body functions, all the wonderful things it is capable of that maybe you were not aware of. And then gently release. Nice. From here, straighten the left knee out. Bring your right knee into the chest. And then holding the right knee with your left hand, take the right knee over to the left side of the body. So we're coming to a supine twist. The right arm, just let it reach out away from that shoulder. Rest it down as best as you can. And with the left hand, I like to hold that right knee just to have a little bit of extra weight and grounding. But most of all, relax. We are just minutes away from the final relaxation. You've done an amazing job getting to know these poses, inviting your body to move in new ways. So just accept this moment of stillness. And then slowly release. Stretch the right leg long. Bring the left knee into your chest. And then take the left knee with your right hand. Start to roll over onto your right side body. So left knee goes over to the right. Left arm, you can stretch it away to the left, away from your shoulder. And most important of all, relax. So when we're in these ground poses, there's a lot of contact with the floor that you can rest into. And on days where you feel particularly tired or exhausted, it's a good idea to increase the amount of these kind of poses, just to ground, relax, soften. It's at least as important as the strengthening, the challenging parts that we also do. And then slowly release, bring both knees into your chest. You can wrap your arms around the shins if you want, squeeze in. And then lift the head towards your knees. You might even touch the forehead to your knees and squeeze into a tight little ball. Squeeze, 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 squeeze as much as possible. Engage your toes, your fingers, your hips, your spine, your shoulders. Scrunch up your face. Nobody can see you anyway. 3, squeeze harder. 2, maximum effort. 1, and then explode into Shavasana. Ooh, that feels nice to just lie on your back. You can have a look in case you want to adjust a little bit more the feet towards the corners of the mat, your palms open towards the sky. Maybe shuffle the shoulder blades a little bit more under your upper back And it could be nice to take a few deeper breaths here. So inhale deeply. Exhale, sigh the breath out through an open mouth. 2 more like this, inhale. Exhale, sigh, and let go. 1 more, inhale. All remaining tension, let it out, sigh. Let go of the breath. Let it do its own thing. Soften the whole body down more and more with every breath, with every exhale. Feel the safety of the ground underneath you. This earth that always welcomes you back. That can easily support your weight. There's no more need to activate any muscles or to strain or to focus. This part is all about softening, releasing, letting go. Slowly start to deepen your breath. If you'd like to stay in this pose for a little bit longer, if you've got some more time, then by all means add another 5 or 10 minutes, whatever you have, to your relaxation. Always a good idea. If your yoga time is up, then start to move your hands and move your feet. Bend your knees and roll over onto your side. And then use your hands to push up into sitting. Bring your palms together at the heart to just feel what you feel like after your practice. How the mind rests in the body. How you can ground down on this earth maybe a little bit more easily. And then touch your hands to your forehead, to your heart center. Bow to yourself on the mat. Namaste, and thank you for practicing. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you here again for part 3, where we'll have a look at balancing poses and back bends, where we're going to expand the front of the body open. See you then.